Good evening. I'm going to call this public hearing to get it going to order. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. This already by far is my favorite public hearing that I've had. It really is. I want to thank the folks that have worked so hard over the last weeks and really months to put this on. I certainly want to thank Hot Chicken Takeover, Joe DeLoss, for hosting us. I want to thank my good friend Luke Westerman and the Westermark Family Foundation for helping to sponsor this evening. So thank Luke for sponsoring the food for us this evening. And certainly want to, and I definitely don't need to introduce the gentleman sitting to my left, Mr. Reese Neader, for his stewardship of Kiva Columbus. We are so excited, and we would not have Kiva Columbus in our city without the hard work and dedication of this gentleman, Mr. Reese Neader.
Thanks.
Just a few housekeeping notes. We are filming this for CTV, and will be running live and will be available on ctv.gov. So if you're going to go to get chicken or moved in between, just the camera is right in between, so kind of duck under if you can, but we appreciate it. So please get comfortable and support one of our amazing local small businesses here in Columbus. I'm Councilmember Shannon Hardin, Chair of the Small and Minority Business Development Committee. At this time, I'd like to recognize city staff that are here who are also have worked hard to make this this evening possible. See our Chief of Staff of Council, our Director of Community Affairs, Ms. Gretchen James, my staff, Ms. Linda Capobianco and Edward Johnson. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your work. Before I introduce this evening's speaker, I'd like to share a few things that City Council does specifically to support small businesses in the city. First, last year, Council sponsored an ordinance from our Jobs Growth Fund to permit small business owners to participate in the city's citywide training and development courses offered through the Department of Human Services. In the first 3 months of this initiative, we have had 38 participants representing 21 different small businesses take over 67 courses. These courses range from trying to figure out Microsoft Excel basics to dealing with difficult customers, giving and receiving effective feedback, and making meetings more efficient. In order to participate in these courses, your business must have less than 50 employees, be located in Columbus, and be registered as a vendor with the city. Council also provides funding for MBE Academy through our Health and Human Services Committee. Since the chair of the committee is here, I'd like to shout out our Council President Pro Tem Tyson, who actually created that program and continues to advocate for its funding each year. The subject of tonight's hearing, however, is the resource entrepreneur and small businesses need to operate, capital, and how to access it. In particular, our speakers have been working with an initiative called Kiva that represents an exciting new opportunity for entrepreneurs that face hurdles to traditional paths forward. We will be hearing from Ryan Edwards, Tamela Walker, Destiny Moody, Marshall Shorts, Letha Pugh, and Reese Neader. Before we begin, please note that tonight's hearing is being broadcast on CTV, Columbus Government Television Channel, and the rebroadcast will be available online at columbus.gov. Small businesses like Hot Chicken Takeover are crucial to the city because they provide jobs to our residents, they pay taxes to provide services, they are part of the vitality of our communities, and they demonstrate the growth of our region. In a moment, Mr. Ryan Edwards of the United Way of Central Ohio will have the floor to discuss the United Way's work with Kiva. I would like to invite Mr. Edwards to come forward, and as he comes forward, I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge the United Way's outgoing president and CEO, the first Black judge in Franklin County, and former Columbus City Attorney, Ms. Janet Jackson, announced her retirement today. Can we give a round of applause for Ms. Janet Jackson? Mr. Edwards, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Councilmember Hardin. Thank you to my good friend Reese Neader. For those of you who aren't familiar, United Way of Central Ohio is committed to providing opportunities for folks in this community to live a good life. We think that Kiva is a good opportunity to help folks who may not otherwise have access to the means to start a small business, and we believe that small business development can help develop our neighborhoods. It can help build families. It can help make our communities strong. And so we're just so thankful to be part of the team and the partners who are helping to bring Kiva to Columbus. We know that Kiva Columbus can't happen without the support of the city of Columbus, and so we want to thank Councilmember Hardin, Councilmember Brown, and other leaders in the city of Columbus for supporting such a strong program. It's been a 18-month process for us. We've learned about Kiva, and it's something new for United Way to be involved in. Most folks are familiar with United Way in terms of our fundraising endeavors and grants that we make to the nonprofit community, and we continue to do that work. We are committed to thinking differently and more innovatively in how we can impact this community, and we think that Kiva is an important tool for us to be able to do that. So just wanted to say how excited we are to be here tonight, and excited to see the support that we have for the small business community. We see a lot of friends who are in the audience tonight, and we look forward to working with you to think more deeply about how we can support the work that you're involved in, support the work that's happening in your neighborhood, and just are excited to be allies with the city of Columbus.
Ryan, a quick question. Talk about United Way's engagement with small minority businesses in the past, and how do we see Kiva increasing that engagement? What does Kiva bring to Columbus and to nonprofits in general work to support minority businesses and small businesses? So
United Way of Central Ohio has been committed to providing job opportunities typically through workforce development programs, which we know consist of a range of populations, including minority populations. We also have been involved in the development and lifting up of neighborhoods and communities. We're at a transitional period now where we want to think a little bit more holistically about how we can integrate some of the programming, so through our workforce side, into neighborhoods and wrap that around with good health, good housing, all the things that you guys work on at the city. Our transitional period allows us to think about how we can leverage our dollars a little bit more effectively, and so we believe that a tool like Kiva can help us do that, can sort of leverage the giving power of all of those who are in our community, and so we're excited to see what that looks like, to think beyond the role of grants maker, to think about how we can bring more people to the table and think more creatively about their philanthropy.
Well, thank you so much for your engagement. Thank you for the work that you've done, or you are doing in our community. And again, send our best wishes to our president of United Way of Central Ohio, Ms. Janet Jackson.
Will do. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So I just want to remind folks that this is an official public hearing, so we will, anybody and everybody will be able to speak. We will have speaker slips. Edward Johnson from our office has speaker slips, so if you're interested in speaking and have questions for our presenters, I'm going to ask the presenters to stick around, so as you have questions, you can come back. They can come back up and answer those specific questions you may have. I also want to shout out Doug Craven here, ECDI. Thank you so much for the work you're doing and the work that we've partnered on in our community. We greatly appreciate it. Next up, I'm going to ask Ms. Tamela Walker from the Greater Linden Business Network to come forward to talk about her engagement with Kiva Beta. Ms. Walker. Yes, ma'am.
Councilmember Hardin, Reese, Neader. I'm Tamela Walker. I'm the owner and creator of Torlitas for that sweet and crunchy taste. I'm going to ask my sister, who's my assistant today, to pass out some blondies. You want to know what those are? Yeah. I think we've all had our fair share. I'm gonna go old school with my tablet here. So Torlitas are white corn tortilla chips with milk chocolate, white chocolate, dark chocolate, and various toppings and flavors. It was born out of a God-given dream in the year 2000. Blondies are white corn tortilla chips with milk chocolate, white chocolate, and almond toffee pieces. So if you have a peanut allergy, don't do it, okay? So, how did I come up with the idea of Torlitas, putting chocolate and a tortilla chip together? It was out of a dream. I've been featured in the Hills Market, State House Gift Shop. I was also on the Chew television show. I was featured by celebrity chef Carla Hall. It was like my Home Alone moment. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. They're talking about my tortilla chips on national television. So fast forward from 2000 to about 2013 when I became partners with Forge Columbus and the Kiva brand. I was introduced to Reese by one of his colleagues, and they said, okay, they're a new startup, I'm a new startup, let's get together and support one another and help grow my business. I was their first entrepreneur, so there were some bumps along the way. I think we both learned from each other how to be better business people. So it was one of their top campaigns in the Kiva platform. Many of you know that Kiva.org is a crowdfunding platform. I was able to raise $3,000 in less than 30 days. And one of the things that really, really gets to my heart and soul is that I didn't give up. I kept in the fight, and Forge Columbus was there along the way with me, down in the trenches when I wanted to give up. So how did I spend this $3,000, you might ask? I was able to purchase very expensive equipment to produce my product. I was able to take part in networking opportunities that I probably would not have had the opportunity had it not been for the Kiva brand or Forge Columbus. And I was able to do some marketing for my product that nobody knew anything about. So, I like to tell you that my $3,000 loan is paid in full. Yeah, woo-hoo! But Forge Columbus and the Kiva brand, they helped me really stand tall and stand, just a little bit taller to say that I can do it. I can be from Linden community, which is in Northeast Columbus. My pastor, I have to give my shout out to my pastor, Bishop Washington, from Mount Hermon Missionary Baptist Church, who's very supportive. And I also want to say thank you to my family and friends who helped me just, keep the faith and keep going. So what do I want to do in the next phase of my business? I want to get a production space where I'm able to produce the product, distribute it, and let it go around the world. Next, I want to be in some big box stores that you might be familiar with in the city of Columbus. And also, I'd like to hire from the Linden community for those people that are hard to place in employment. So any entrepreneur out there who's looking to be a part of Kiva, do it. You're better for it. I'd like to thank again Reese Neader from Forge Columbus. If you want to know more about me or my business, my name is Tamela Walker. I'm from Linden. And you can go to www.torlitas.com, especially if you want a Mother's Day gift.
Ms. Walker, I have a couple of questions. So I'm gonna start at the kind of what you said last, and I think this is so important and why it's so important for the city, but for the community to support minority-owned businesses is that minority-owned businesses tend to hire from communities and for people that look like them, giving access and opportunity to folks who are, like you said, sometimes won't get an opportunity to get hired other places. So I want to hear more about your vision there and the outreach that you would like to do in Linden. But above that, how did you hear about Kiva? How did you hear about Forge? How did you, find out about this as something coming from the community? And who do you think should be what kind of business works for Kiva? Like who should come through this? Who would you recommend to try Kiva out as a funding tool?
Okay, I'll take your last question first. I think anyone who has a vision, who wants to really have that entrepreneur spirit with deep down inside of them, because it takes guts. Hello? Guts to be an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. So anyone that has a nonprofit, anybody that is looking to, has a company, anyone just like the food industry. I started in my kitchen in the year 2000. So I know there's a lot of food entrepreneurs out there like me who can benefit from Kiva. The other part is about, I'm sorry.
Idea of giving back to where you came from.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Hardin. So from the community of Linden, even though there are a lot of negative information that comes out of the Linden community, there are people that are law-abiding, tax-paying citizens that have done what they're supposed to do for years. I'm not going to tell you my age, but my family has been there for decades. And we've grown, we've been state workers, we've been just really toiling in the Linden community as a whole. And even though I have an MBA, you don't really hear those kind of stories coming out of Linden. So I want to reach back, help those who have maybe fallen along the way, and be able to say, hey, you can do it. Okay, you got some stuff, okay. It's one of those things where I want to be a help for people to help them dream even bigger. I love business. I love talking about business. And if there's another entrepreneur in the Linden community, why not share what I know? Okay. And also, with that said, how did I meet Reese, Neader, and Forge Columbus and get involved in the Kiva brand? Well, funny as you asked that, Council Member Hardin. I was a part of something called Increase CDC, which is in Northeast Columbus. I was a valedictorian. I'm not giving a great, thank you. Okay, somebody's familiar with Increase CDC. And I just knew that I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've grown my business since the year 2000. I wasn't official until 2013 in that business. But they saw something in me, and Reese had a colleague that was a part of Increase CDC at the time, and he said, hey, I think I would like for you to meet Reese Neader, and we would like to help you grow your business. And so we linked up with a partnership together in order to grow what I call Torlitas.com. And it was, like I said, it was some bumps along the way, but we grew together. And we learned from one another.
And my last question is, prior to Kiva, did you try to get funding for any other traditional sources, and how did that experience go compared to Kiva?
Well, actually, I am one of those people who, if I, was able to produce a product, and really I just did it with family and friends. And what I did was take the monies that maybe was a little bit left over, and I put it right back into my business. So that's how I did it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Ms. Destiny Moody, who also will share how Kiva has changed her business. And Ms. Moody, are you? Yeah. I'm excited to hear about your childcare company. I know your mom, Ms. Sandra Moody, an awesome business owner and businesswoman here in our community. So.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Destiny. I'm owner of A Mother's Love. It was home daycare, but it's transitioning to Therapeutic Daycare. So I started A Mother's Love in 2012. I was initially working actually downtown Sheraton overnight after I had my daughter because I didn't want to send her to a daycare. So I did that for a while. Went to Florida, came back, and actually her father suggested that I maybe think about staying at home because I hated my job and I was tired all the time. So I decided to do daycare, and it just slowly kind of rolled from there. So in transitioning now, I am hoping to secure a building that is actually not far away on Parsons that will accommodate roughly 120 kids, and it'll also add therapeutic care for special needs children as well. So the facility will accommodate, in addition, a community play cafe. So full-time, all-around special needs and traditional care, and then on the other side is the community play cafe, which emulates a COSI or Chick-fil-A environment for children, but then also offers families resources such as parenting classes, health and nutrition information, financial planning, just a holistic family care type center. So that's what we're transitioning to. So Kiva, at this point, is helping me to secure not just funding, but a lot of connections with the right people to grow my business, for the possibility of city contracts and just regular, consistent improvement, and to be able to grow and look at different locations and to expand in a much faster way than I would have otherwise done on my own. So that's where I am in the process now. And then with the city I also am working through Increase CDC and what's the other one? I lost the name, ECDI. So I actually started with their program in October and have gone through there, which is how I connected with Kiva, and then everybody works together. So I end up meeting a lot of the same people a few times, different ways, by accident, and they're like, oh, that's even better, and then they help you some more. So that's kind of where I am in the process. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be awesome, and I'm very grateful for these organizations who have pulled together, who don't know you but believe in what you're doing and are willing to back you for that reason. So, yep.
Thank you. You mentioned, or you hit on like the networking that happens maybe organically in the small business community, but how has Kiva, the work that or the interaction you've had with ECDI increased, how has that networking helped your business in particular?
One, aside from the network, so funding obviously is a huge thing. I'm not a bankable person. My credit is not bankable, so that was not an option for me.
Mine isn't either.
Yeah, a lot of people, but it helps because they don't just give you money. They suggest how you can get to a bankable place. So even if they just suggest you start off with a first round of funding to give you a boost, give you more money to pay off things on your credit, so then you can go to a traditional bank and have some more options. So they just at least get you to a place where you think that it's still possible. If you go to a bank and they say no, you think that a lot of people stop at that point because that's where you think all the money is, But then you have people who say, no, it's okay, let's do this first, work with a little bit, fix your credit, then go back. And, so it's a difference between maybe not doing what you dreamed of because you ran into a banker versus somebody from Kiva, or you know what I mean? You have other options, so yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I would also like to shout out Ryan Schick. Is Ryan here? Ryan is the city's small business concierge. One of the things that my predecessor, Troy Miller, did before I came to council was come up with this idea that small businesses needed a one-stop shop. So instead of calling around and running through all the bureaucracies of the city, that you could call one person, Ryan, and he could help walk you through all the different intricacies of our city. So just wanted to shout him out. He's a great resource. Please use him, and thank you for being here. Next, I would like to bring up Mr. Marshall Short. I apologize. Marshall Short is Columbus College of Art and Design owner, operator of Soulo Theory Creative. Mr. Short, what's up, brother?
Good evening. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I have to say I wasn't expecting to talk tonight, but leave it to Reese to put you on the spot. But I am glad to be here. Thank you, Shannon, Councilman Hardin, and Reese for having me. I won't be before you long. I am the owner, founder, and creative chief of Soulo Theory Creative, design, branding, advertising agency, small shop. And I'm also co-founder of Creative Control Fest, which is a annual conference aimed at getting more people of color into creative industries. Kiva, I've gone through the process of getting a Kiva loan, and it was pretty straightforward. For me, I have been in business around 5 years, and as you all know, with small business, a lot of your income goes to overhead and taking care of home. So that cushion that you need to build capacity or scale up is sometimes hard to come by if you don't want to go the credit route or go to the bank and get loans. And I think Kiva provides an opportunity for that small scalability. I've been able to purchase new equipment with my loan. I've been able to bring on an intern, Justin in the back, who's a student at Columbus State. A very talented designer who I hope to hire once his internship is done. So that would not be happening if not for this opportunity with Kiva. I think the beautiful part about Kiva is that it's character-based. There are people who want to support your business but don't necessarily need your services. And so Kiva provides that opportunity for those people to, lend you a hand here and there, in a platform for those people who want to support you, who don't necessarily need your design services or need whatever service it is you offer. And that's a community aspect. And your accountability goes to the community that gives to your loan. So yeah, Kiva, support it. For me, the best part about this and why I really wanted to go through the process and the opportunity is I work with a lot of small business, a lot of creative entrepreneurs who want to do their craft and they're creative for a living. And so for this, I think Kiva provides an opportunity for me to advocate for those businesses. And I'm in the process now of becoming a trustee for Kiva Columbus so that I may be able to help people go through this process and working with, a couple businesses now. Destiny in the back, I'm working with her now. But I think that it's an opportunity to help those small people who just need that leg up and get to that next level. So thank you, and I'm open for questions, I guess, at this point.
Actually, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Lastly, but certainly not least, is my good friend. I just saw her walk into the hearing. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. My good friend and owner of Bake Me Happy, Miss Letha Pugh. Don't you love me putting you on the spot like that? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Letha Pugh, and myself and my partner, Wendy Miller Pugh, we own Bake Me Happy. I found out about the Kiva program actually through Heather Whaling from Gebben Communications. She asked me if I'd ever heard of Kiva. I hadn't. I went and looked it up that night, and I'm sold on it. Kiva is a program that historically has helped people internationally and is here now in the United States. But everybody has a dream. A lot of people have dreams. And a lot of those dreams die because you just don't have the capital. And here's a program that, based on your integrity, based on your story or your belief in your product, you can take it to the next level. Not everyone has 3 years of profit and loss statements that show awesome revenue, and you got 4 months to wait for a loan from SBA. Not to knock SBA, But with the Kiva program, not only for us, we were able to use the money to start working on marketing for our company, which is a certified gluten-free bakery. It's in Marion Village. It's one of the only certified gluten-free bakeries in the city. But there's something internally that I really bought into, because I am now helping other people on Kiva. And if we all had a leg up, if we all had someone to say, hey, you know, I can give you $25. Even now, I feel like I can go out and fundraise and say, you know what? Give to this organization. If you only give $25, but if I had 1,000 people give $25, it'd make a huge difference. And that's what Kiva does. We didn't ask for very much because I wasn't real sure how the process worked, but we were funded in less than 18 hours. I could kind of tell when my friends weren't, I needed to meet a certain amount of funders personally that I knew, but then I started seeing people from Portland, Oregon, and Australia, and you know, it gave me a moral boost also. You know, we have a product that I believe in, but then these other people, all they did was read our profile and they believe in us too. And that alone is why the payback rate, I believe, is so good. Because when you believe in yourself and then other people believe in you, it makes a huge difference. So I'm all about Kiva now. I mean, I've drank the Kool-Aid, you know. It's Reese has been very supportive. Shannon's been very supportive. I have some friends who donated to us who are also helping other people, and I think that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
So you said you raised your money in 18 hours. Talk about that process. Like, what did that probably quicker than a lot of folks do it? But how does that work? Is it just using your network? Are they phone calls? Like what is the work?
I mean, I wanted to dig in there and conversate with people a little bit more. But you know, I met with Reese. We met a couple of times. Bake Me Happy has been around since 2013. We moved into a space in Marion Village, and we were lucky enough, I had another business that I sold. And so, you know, I built that kitchen. But at a certain point, you don't want to spend your personal money anymore. I mean, you know, we were kind of tapped out, like capital-wise. But the business is generating income. It is paying for itself. But I kind of felt like we needed a boost, PR, marketing. We needed to invest in that. So when I met with Reese, I really hadn't thought about, I didn't know much about the program, so I didn't know what to expect. And, you know, essentially you build a profile. And it is kind of like a crowdfunding or a Kickstarter, except you do have a little bit more personalized relationships with folks just based on the strength of the fact that you gave me money and you didn't even know me. And that alone, for me, you know, I'm not a good, I don't raise money well, but I give a lot of people money, and everything that I've ever given to someone, whether it was for pelotonia or cystic fibrosis, it came back. And so, you know, I just kind of believed in what Reese was saying, because when I left the meeting, I was like, this is ridiculous. Who would just loan you money? They don't know you. But I walked through the steps, I walked through the process. We completed our profile. I started communicating with some folks in Utah. And then they send you a link, and then you send that link out to your friends. So I had a group of friends, about 25 of us, we'd gone to Las Vegas. Now, on the way back from Las Vegas, you don't have all your faculties, but I had this group together. It was like 25 of us, and I said, hey, you guys, I'm starting this program. It's called Kiva. A couple of people had heard of Kiva, but I explained to them what I needed from them, and you know, they were all on board. And so what Kiva does is they, based on the amount of money that you borrow, they tell you how many of your own supporters you need to have fund you. And that's your private or your quiet phase. Once you get through the quiet phase, it opens up to public. And so, you know, you get an email every time someone funds you, and it kind of they have a profile and it tells where they're from. And so once I started getting, like, I knew who my friends were. I could tell they were all from Columbus. But then once I started getting emails from other parts of the country, I knew, oh, okay, I've opened up to public funding right now. So what I've done, because it happened so quickly, the other part of it is, as long as you're an active borrower, which I've learned since I've borrowed, I've gotten other opportunities from a couple of different folks connected to Kiva. So we've done a commercial for Kiva, for Access Ventures. And then we also were approached by a school called Sama School that takes adults who they may have had a hard time, or they're getting back into the workforce, and it teaches them how to work with companies and help figure out or assess their social media impact. And so these we're getting these additional benefits as well. Now, if I pay off the loan immediately, I don't think I'm like active anymore. So I'm just kind of slowly paying the loan back. But it goes to your PayPal account, and then you deposit it into your business account. They send you reminders, and then you're also on the list, so they give you different resources to help your business grow.
Letha talks about feeling jilted. I threw a party to help fundraise for him. By the time she got to the party, she'd already been funded.
So actually, and so what I've done, because I know that people want updates, every 3 weeks, I go in and I send an email to all of the folks who did lend to us, just to let them know where we are in the process, and they've been happy about that. I mean, it's once they respond and tell me, thanks for the update, but yeah, it's gone very well. I think it's a great program.
Thank you so much. So throughout all of the testimony you've heard so far, you've heard a gentleman's name over and over again. Really can't say enough about the work that Reese Neader has done in our community. He is socially focused and is one of those folks who has a vision and wakes up every morning and tirelessly attacks that and goes for it. And he is truly moving our city forward. Reese started talking to me last year about Kiva. I truthfully had no idea what he was talking about, kind of like Letha, like, what are you talking about, bro? But after coming back to me over and over again and really just sitting down and explaining and showing me what this had done around the country, and really around the world, I really bought into it. And so with that, I'm going to turn the public hearing over to Mr. Reese Neader to talk, to really go in depth about Kiva and really tell the public that is watching, tell them about it, explain it in layman terms, and let them know how they can find out more about it.
Great. I'm going to sit. Is that cool? Can I sit right here? All right. They told me if I stand up, this thing's going to get ripped off, and then we'll be in a mess. So before I go any further, I do want to thank again Luke Westerman and the Westerman Family Foundation, as well as Insperity for their contributions for tonight. That's why you're eating some delicious hot chicken takeovers. So let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. Entrepreneurship is important, right? That's one of the things that makes this country great. 7 out of 10 SBA loans are rejected every single day in this country, and yet at the same time, access to capital is consistently identified as the #1 barrier for entrepreneurs in this country. If every micro enterprise in the United States, which is a business with 5 employees or less, could hire 1 more person, our country would be at full employment. So think about what a difference access to capital can make. That might sound like a big abstract idea, but here in Franklin County, we have 30,000 young people between the ages of 16 and 24 who are either not in school or not employed. Now, entrepreneurship might only be one of the solutions, but it is part of the solution. So when I was looking at work that I could be doing in Columbus to help make a difference, I immediately identified Kiva as an easy solution. So Kiva is an international nonprofit organization based in San Francisco. They've been around for 10 years. They work in 83 countries around the world, providing access to microloans. So in different countries, it means different things. Here in the United States, a microloan is a loan of $50,000 or less. Kiva provides access to zero interest, zero fee microloans of up to $10,000 here in the United States. And the way that they do that is by crowdfunding people's money. So Kiva's been operating for 10 years. 3 years ago, they broke into the US market. They might have been helping people in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia, but they realized that our country, right, has a significant issue with income inequality, with poverty, with access to capital. So they entered the market, and the way that they did that to help get the word out was by building partnerships with local government. So they have a Kiva City program. Bill Clinton was the first person to launch Kiva City. He did it in Little Rock, Arkansas. He just launched the latest Kiva City in New York City in December. There are 13 Kiva cities to date. Columbus will be the 14th. Our official national launch day has been confirmed for July 21st of this year. It's going to be a big deal, right? Okay. Before I get into how Kiva works for the borrower, I just want to talk more about what a Kiva City is so that we can get the idea of why we're having this program right now, why money is being raised. So to build the program in a city, you need several things. One, you need political endorsements from innovative, forward-thinking elected officials. Shannon Hardin, Liz Brown, Mayor Andrew Ginther, and other members of local government have all been extremely supportive. That's why we're here tonight. I'd like to thank them again for their support. But then you also need support from local civic organizations. So to officially launch as a Kiva City, you need to raise a one-time sum of money that can go towards supporting fellowships, go towards supporting the launch, but more importantly, creating a specific website for borrowers in Columbus. So Kiva, as a global platform working in 83 countries, they have 1.4 million lenders around the world who are all giving money, and they're doing it in 83 different countries. If you right now want to give a loan to someone in Columbus, you're going to have to go to the website, you're going to have to go into the search tab, look up Columbus, Ohio, then check out a little heat map, and then find the person, unless you have a link. So by creating a Kiva Columbus website, we'll have a one-stop shop to get entrepreneurs in Columbus funded, and we can build a local community of lending support to support them. So current program funders and sponsors that we have on this campaign, the City of Columbus, Greater Columbus Arts Council, the United Way of Central Ohio, the Ohio Capital Corporation for Housing, and the Columbus Foundation. There are some others also in the works, and we're currently also talking with some local community financial institutions to create a revolving loan fund so that every Columbus borrower who is using the platform will receive a dollar-to-dollar match. So for instance, if you want to raise $5,000, you only have to raise $2,500 because the rest will be matched by a local financial institution. And as that money is paid back by the borrower, it goes back into the fund. Everybody wins, right? So I want to talk a little bit more about how, as a borrower, you can be supported by Kiva. Again, access to capital, number one issue, right? So to date in Columbus, with the loans that we have funded, 60% have been minority and women-owned businesses. We've hit 9 different neighborhoods of need. And currently, if all of the loan applications that we have open get funded, we will have funded over $250,000 in microloans of $5,000 or less before our launch date in July. Which, yeah. Yeah.
That's key right there. 60% of these loans have gone to women and minority-owned businesses. That's huge to me, and one of the main reasons why I got behind this program.
And the important thing to know about that too, it's happening because of word of mouth, right? So every time we have a successful borrower, they want to tell the story of how Kiva helped them, and then new borrowers come, and then we work with them. Now, every borrower is different. They all have different needs. So again, a zero interest, zero fee loan of up to $10,000. If you are an entrepreneur, you have the opportunity to choose your own repayment rate, anywhere from 6 to 36 months. Again, it's zero fee and zero interest. You can be a for-profit organization or a nonprofit organization. It doesn't matter. As long as your loan is going towards supporting working capital needs, you're okay. You've heard stories about the different things that people have used their loans for here, right? Why they're buying equipment, marketing, advertising, it runs the gamut, legal fees. It can be anything that's going to help grow your business. A recent study of Kiva in Louisville, which is also a Kiva city, every Kiva loan created more than one job on average. So it was like 1.6 jobs, and I never figure out how they get the 0.6, but yeah, so it's creating employment in places where it's needed most. Now, who can borrow from Kiva? Anybody can, as long as you have a personal income under $100,000, which if you have over $100,000 income and you need that access to capital, I don't know why you do, but it's anybody with a personal income of $100,000 or less can use the platform. It's a great way to both network here in Columbus, but also to get your product out into the world. So for instance, a friend of mine who I helped open a pop-up bookstore, it's actually in my co-working space in German Village, half of his loan got funded by an Austrian literary society because they thought books were cool. Every loan's different. As you heard, Letha got her loan funded in 18 hours, which was amazing. When Tamela got funded, her campaign was ranked top 25 globally by Kiva for the most amount of new lenders because she has such a strong community in her church and in her neighborhood and other places in Columbus. Everybody stepped up to pitch in. Yeah, so again, it's a crowdfunding platform. It's very simple and easy to use. If you're a borrower and you're thinking about using this platform, basically consider it a 60-day timetable from the time you fill out the application to the time when you're going to get fully funded. All of the back-end work is done through PayPal. The founder of Kiva is the founder of PayPal, so all the fees are waived. But it's a simple and easy platform. If you want to use it, let's have a conversation. The other thing I want to point out, so you had heard a borrower, it was Tamela, and I think a couple other people mentioned Forge Columbus. So I'm the founder and CEO of Forge Columbus, which is a civic organization dedicated to advancing shared prosperity in Columbus. Community organizations can play a key role in supporting entrepreneurs without giving them money. They're called community trustees, which you heard people allude to. A community trustee is a for-profit or nonprofit organization that provides a public letter of support for that entrepreneur and helps use their network to assist with crowdfunding. So the North Market is a community trustee because they see the value in having, the folks downstairs, if they need to repair their stalls, prep things up, whatever, they can get access to a loan. The Columbus Idea Foundry, we help them do a loan for one of their members, as an example. Forge Columbus, another example. The United Way is very interested in becoming a trustee. We're having that conversation now. Currently, we have over 10 trustees here in Columbus. We're hoping to grow that. Small Business Beanstalk is a trustee. We've got a great variety. And most recently, the Human Services Chamber of Franklin County as well, which is great, because then that's going to get access to all kinds of nonprofits that need the service. But yeah, Kiva's about community. It's about building it. I'd like to work with all of you. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Talk about the sponsors again and what their role are and is there a space there to grow sponsors in Columbus?
Sure, absolutely. So we are $20,000 away right now from hitting our mark for the fundraising that we need to do for Kiva. If any organizations would be interested in stepping up, that's awesome. But really think about it this way. So addressing inequality is a huge need in Columbus. We all recognize that. Kiva is one approach to doing that. All of the organizations who are sponsoring Kiva look at Kiva as a valuable tool in their tool belt for supporting access to capital and addressing inequality in Columbus. We're working together every month to host informational events, to get the word out, and more importantly, to build a network of services so that, as you've heard, a lot of these entrepreneurs have had good networking opportunities, being able to get connected to the right people, whether it's at the city, different nonprofit organizations. Central Ohio SBDC, for example, is another community trustee. We're all on the same team trying to support people, so then we can all refer each other to different folks. So every person that we're working with, they're getting more and more access to services as we build this community. So if you have an organization that's interested in supporting our mission, let's have a conversation.
Thank you, Reese. Yeah. I certainly want to recognize and thank my colleague and co-sponsor for this legislation, Elizabeth Brown, who chairs the Economic Development Committee on Council. In the next 2 weeks, we will bring this ordinance to provide $25,000 from the Council's Job Growth Fund to establish Kiva as a micro lender in the city of Columbus. And we're going to try to push that legislation on May 9th. So if you are interested, the biggest thing about this, I think, is getting the word out. Folks need to hear about this program. So as we push this on the agenda for council, we'll ask folks to come down and speak about it again to really get the word out about it. And that's why we wanted to have this public hearing. At this time, we will entertain public comments and questions. Let's see. Our first public speaker, our speaker would be Mr. Al Washington. Would you please step to the microphone? Please state your name, and any organization that you might represent.
Al Washington, and I'm not from Columbus, but I've spent a lot of time doing work in Columbus. Around small and minority business. In fact, back in the day, I negotiated the first contracts when the airport was under City Hall, and Jerry Hammond was the chairperson of the airport committee. They were having some problems getting some minority contractors out there, and somehow or another, he and C.J. McLean got together, and I ended up talking to Jerry, and I ended up down in Cincinnati. But needless to say, when it was all over, there was no problem with minority contractors out at the airport. Similarly, I've worked with the city when the city was unable to get funding for the Model Cities building, covered by Section 3 of the Housing and Development Act of 1968. HUD told them, we're not going to give you the money until you got a Section 3 program. And folks said, what the heck's a Section 3 program? Somebody was told, go see that guy down in Dayton. I ended up writing the Section 3 program for the City of Columbus, which resulted in that Model Cities building being built. But I want to rush this now to fast forward. Sometimes the best way to get forward is to look back. The thing that scares me, I talked about Section 3, for instance. It's my opinion that the City of Columbus made a tragic mistake a year and a half ago when it enacted legislation to pre-register contractors. 5 criteria. You got to reach 60% of them, 3 of the 5. Criteria number 1, you got to have local workforce. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It makes a lot of sense to have that. In fact, that's absolutely consistent with HUD's Section 3. Local ownership. Well, you got to be in the same location for 2 years. Well, a new business ain't been in that same location for the last 2 years. And emerging businesses having those difficulties. There are 3 criteria, however, that you can do without being local. Criteria number 1, own your training program. And that training program must be an approved apprenticeship program. You show me somebody who has an approved apprenticeship program. 2, got to have a pension program. Workers typically don't work for the same contractor through their life experience, through their work life. So I'm going to put you in a pension program that you'll never get vested in. So neither I end up escalating my expenses, and it does not serve the best interest of that worker. 3, I got the pension program, the training program, and the health and welfare. Again, folks tend to have short life experiences with a particular contractor and never gets to the point where they will even get to use that health care plan. What happens with that activity is that it drives the cost of doing business for a small and emerging business. It drives their cost up, thus increasing the likelihood that they will fail. You have an opportunity to do a measurement. You've had the first full year. So let's do a measurement. Compare the impact of that legislation with your Section 3 lists. Which clearly, by HUD's requirements, requires that you use local businesses and local workers. So what you got to do now, again, as I say, as we're looking forward, sometimes the best way to go forward is to take a darn good look back and find out who the real beneficiaries were of that legislation. Because what it ends up doing is it drives us, those small and emerging businesses, because I don't have time, as much as I like Sandra Moody, who can help me with my insurance program and my pension program, as much as I like her, I'm trying to create this business. I can't go negotiating with her on all of these things. Plus, I ain't got the money to do it anyway. What it ends up doing, and I'm going to talk straight out to you now, because I'm talking to politics. The real beneficiaries of that activity is organized labor, the Building and Construction Trades Council, because you don't have to negotiate. Because if you become signatory to a collective bargaining agreement, you don't have to worry about a pension program. You don't have to worry about the health and welfare. You don't have to worry about the training program. So it's 3 minutes.
I didn't say that we have the 3 minutes, but I let you go over a little bit. One, I want to say that I appreciate the work that you've done for many, many years throughout the state of Ohio, fighting and bringing opportunity to minority-owned businesses. Secondly, I want to say that we have shared goals, and that I look forward to working with you, working with Ms. Ginger Cunningham and folks at the Diversity Compliance Coalition to come up with real solutions so that any legislation that we put forward going forward is inclusive and really does bring access and opportunity for minority and small business companies in Columbus. So I really do appreciate your work and look forward to working with you and others to accomplish our shared goals.
If I may, in closing.
Real quick, yep.
Simply suggest that you do a review of the impact of that legislation. And if you need some help on it, more than willing to come and help.
Next, we will have Mr. Lawrence Oz. Mr. Oz, would you come and state your name? You have 3 minutes to testify. Would you please state your any organization that you? Only 3. No.
3 minutes. Listen, I'm talking to talkers. Well, first of all, I appreciate having an opportunity to hear progress about moving forward. I really came because I had read about Kiva actually in the mayor's State of the City, where he referenced it, and I happen to be involved with several organizations in the African American community that's been pursuing access to capital for 40 plus years. And it has not been a successful process to date. I wanted to cite a statistic as a challenge, because this is the challenge that access to capital has to address. In the Franklin County report to the Census Bureau, it said that there were 19,000 plus businesses owned by white folks that had paid employees. And that in that same report by the U.S. Census Bureau, it said there were 743 companies with paid employees by people that are considered African Americans. That is less than 4%. That's the challenge that your generation has to take on. And I really came up to say that I've appreciated Shannon's attitude. And so the question becomes, there are several initiatives to address the peculiar problem facing the African American because of the peculiar institution called slavery and its aftermath. So this will not be an effort to exclude, but it'll be an effort on my part and those that I know to make sure that those peculiar barriers are addressed as we move this community forward. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to work with your organization, sir.
That was less
Yes,
than
sir.
3 minutes too. And as we heard tonight, we are very excited to unleash the entrepreneur capacity of that Columbus has as a national leader. I encourage all entrepreneurs to take advantage of all these resources for small businesses today and in the future. Before we conclude tonight's hearing, I would like to thank, again, Mr. Reese Neader and Forge Columbus, Mr. Joe DeLoss and Hot Chicken Takeover for catering this event, Mr. Luke Westerman and the Westerman Family Foundation and Insperity for sponsoring this event. My colleagues who, again, we will present this piece of legislation to in the next coming weeks and ask for their support. Again, my staff, Ms. Linda and Edward Johnson, all the staff of Columbus City Council and all the folks that work for the City of Columbus who help support small and minority businesses throughout our community. Certainly want to thank the hardworking team at CTV who make these hearings possible. Thank you guys for following me around throughout the community to host these hearings. And finally, I want to thank the residents of Columbus who make our city seriously the best place in the country to live, to work, and to raise a family. I got that from my mentor, former Mayor Coleman. This place was generous enough to let us borrow their space until 7. We're after 7 o'clock, so we're going to end this hearing. Thank you so much.